And you're all very welcome back to another podcast delivered to you by WeddingSuppliers.ie, where you can find Ireland's largest list of wedding venues and trusted wedding suppliers. You can also plan your wedding end to end. Visit WeddingSuppliers.ie. In today's podcast, we have David O'Connor, who is Managing Director of Pembroke Street and Galway, Louis Copeland. So we're going to talk all about clothing. Hi Dave, how's it going?
Cathal, how are you doing? Thanks a million for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So listen, the first thing I'm going to ask you, how do we look?
You look absolutely fabulous.
Yeah?
You're wearing a lovely sports jacket there. I'd add a little pocket square in next time, maybe for a little.
Here?
Yeah, just to kind of finish the look off.
What colour would you go with this type of...
Well, a nice red or something like that would be good, wouldn't it?
Would a red work?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, look, I'm excited to talk all about suits. So Louis Copeland, can we just have a little bit of a history about Louis Copeland? How far do we go back?
Okay, so the business is in existence since 1933. Wow. So it's been around for a long time. And I suppose the history of Louis Copeland is that in the past it was very, very focused on just suits. In fact, the first store that would have been on Capel Street would have only carried suits, nothing else, not even shirts, ties, knitwear, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
And I suppose now it's expanded into a multi-brand store, and we'd have a vast selection of casual wear, a vast selection of suiting and smart casual.
Yeah, because you do shoes. The last time I was in your store in Pembroke Street, you get shoes, everything down to your cufflinks. So you get everything in store now. You don't have to go to a few different shops. It's not just a suit.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop, really,
Yeah.
And we've a few different kind of areas of the business. So obviously we're going to be talking about weddings today.
Yes.
And we cater for, wedding suits. We do a lot of made-to-measure. We do a lot of day two as well.
Okay.
So for blazers, smart casuals.
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
Because day two is a thing. Day three is nearly a thing.
So day four is the thing now, Cathal.
So there's 2 or 3 suits.
Sure, I was dealing with a wedding there last summer. And they had a 4-day event afterwards, and they had 3 bands playing on the 3rd day.
I know, it's gone crazy.
Yeah,
And what, people sometimes say, "Oh, they went crazy at the wedding," but I kind of say, "Go crazy." It's a once-off thing for most of us, isn't it?
It starts off that way, Cathal. Yeah. Put all the budget towards the first marriage anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now look, I suppose the main question I would have is, when I got married, we rented suits, okay, and I, believe it or not, had 5 groomsmen. So
5?
5.
5 groomsmen?
5 bridesmaids. I think there was 6 bridesmaids and 5 groomsmen.
So how did you all fit up on the altar?
It was crazy.
Huh?
I look back at photographs now, and I haven't even seen half these guys now in the last few years. But so I think it's an important question. What grooms look for now? So obviously there's still a massive rental market. It's like people want a uniformed suit. But for Louis Copeland, that's not an area where you don't rent suits. If a groom comes into you, would the groom be looking for all uniformed, or I want this to be about me and it's tailor cut? Is that the right?
Well, it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we don't do rentals. Okay, so we only sell suits and a combination of off the rack and then made to measure. So made to measure for grooms is a huge part of our business.
Okay.
With regards to the groom's party, we tend to see slightly smaller groom's parties than 5. Usually it's in around 2 and 3 for the 2 and 3 groomsmen. And the rule is that they don't need to wear a matching outfit to the groom. They need to complement the groom. So what that means is if the groom's wearing evening wear or a tuxedo, they need to wear a tuxedo, not necessarily the same tuxedo.
Right.
And then, of course, if they're wearing a lounge suit, that would be a phrase that we would use for, let's call it a standard suit, that the guys would wear the same kind of style. So you would never put the groom in a normal suit or a standard suit, let's say, and the guys in tuxedos and vice versa.
Okay, there'd be too much of a clash because you have to think of photographs, don't you, within reason?
Well, the rule is, as I said to you, they need to complement each other. The other thing is colours. So if the groom is wearing a colour, let's say, that's more of a statement colour, that doesn't mean that the groomsmen need to go for the same. So an example of that would be, if the groomsman was to wear maybe a slightly brighter blue, that the groomsmen might go for a slightly darker shade, getting towards the navy kind of shades, that way.
Okay,
it's a bit like the wedding dress. It's the bride that wants to stand out.
Yeah.
So she'd wear a brighter dress to stand out a little bit more than the bridesmaids.
Yeah, of course. And what I'm seeing now trends with with brides, obviously it's a white dress. It's very rare that you'd see something offside. You might see like a champagne colour. I've seen actually a black dress as well, but it's very rare, right?
Yeah.
But I am seeing a lot more black and white.
Well, what
in
I think
today's wedding kind of
well,
trend.
what you're seeing is like the biggest trend at the moment is, and it's really, really strong, is tuxedos.
Okay.
So a lot of couples, they're opting for tuxedos, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the whole wedding is going to be black tie.
Yeah.
You know, and by the way, if you ask me, I think a black tie wedding looks phenomenal, and the reason being, it puts shape on all the guys, because we all have that one friend, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he's always a little bit scruffy looking, don't we?
Yeah,
So, like, I mean, if you put guys in a tuxedo, it's a really good way of getting them to look smart.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that encourages the ladies then to get really dressed up.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and especially this time of year, like we're coming into Christmas, I think black tie weddings look.
It does,
brilliant.
I have to say, and with the awards, going a little bit off, the awards we kind of made it, not a rule, but kind of come dressed well.
Yeah.
But it's not black tie, and in most award ceremonies did say it's your third is black tie, and there's no doubt in the world, and I never thought about it the way you just said it. It does look better, but it looks better for what the reason you had said.
Yeah.
It's because everybody kind of just fits in. So you don't have, like I seen one of your recent social posts, I thought it was very funny. What's your ick?
Yeah.
And I think someone said, well, a 50-plus-year-old man or even whatever age wearing tight,
Spray-on jeans.
Spray-on jeans,
Yeah,
do people, is that trend of the tighter trousers, is that kind of leaving us now? Or is it still there?
No, it's absolutely changing. So the ick video,
it's
by the way,
brilliant.
it's the Louis Copeland Galway Instagram,
Right.
and it's Gary and his team down there, and they're doing a phenomenal job of really, really good kind of content.
Yeah.
And it's getting a huge amount of
Because
feedback.
people really want to see that now. Because when you go in, it's like every wedding, you're going in blind. You don't really know. You might have an idea what you want, but when someone comes to you, it's a completely opposite. They walk out the door probably with something completely opposite of what they came in for.
Well,
did you ever see that?
Not necessarily, but back to your first question,
Yeah,
right?
of
So your
course,
first question was about the trousers. So I think in general, clothing in general is getting looser fitting now. Okay. So the spray-on jeans are well and truly gone, right?
Yeah.
For any age, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. And when it comes to suiting, the silhouette now is a little bit more relaxed. The shoulder is a little bit more relaxed. The half waist, the waist of the jacket, this kind of real tight jacket.
Yeah.
It's moving away from that, not to like an oversized or a baggy fit, but just a comfortable fit.
Yeah.
So we're seeing definitely 100%. We're seeing that trend coming through.
It's coming more towards that now.
Yeah. And with regards to your question about what guys are coming in thinking of and what they're leaving with. So one of the things that certainly our team in Pembroke Street and Galway we'll do with any couple that we're dealing with, we'll give honest feedback. If you walk in the door, we're not going to tell you everything looks amazing. We're not going to tell you, oh, yeah, you're 100% right in this. A trend during the summer was white jackets. So a white tuxedo jacket,
Okay.
right? So let me put it this way. You'll never see me in a white tuxedo jacket, right? Because it's just not for me. With my colouring, right?
Yeah. I wore a white suit at my wedding.
Did you?
Just as a little confession.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, did you have a tan, or were you kind? What?
Yeah, a little bit of a tan, yeah. But would I do
Probably
it
had a bit of
again?
makeup on as well, did you?
No, brother. Don't go there, a little eyeshadow. No.
Spandau Ballet.
I didn't go that extreme. So, so the white, and would you still have grooms kind of maybe with that on their head saying...
What I was saying to you is that, there was a couple of guys came in during the summer and asked that, but we, to be honest, and say, look, that's not for you.
Yeah.
But this is what we think would suit you. But one of the biggest pieces of advice I would have for grooms is that go onto Pinterest, with your fiance, pick a few, 4 or 5 different looks that is something that you have in mind, because that's a great tool.
That
then
can steer you.
Yeah, when you come into the store, it's a great kind of platform for one of our team to discuss what they think would suit you out of those looks.
Okay.
And plus as well, we can talk about, well, maybe that look with that lapel, with that trouser. So we can kind of style the whole thing together.
Yeah.
So definitely a tip is, look at Pinterest and come in with a mood board. Like,
Yeah, 5 or 6 things. Just
Yeah.
keep it simplified. This is how I feel I would look. And with the conversation with the couple, sometimes the groom might have something what he wants, and the bride might have something that she wants. Do you ever have a row in the shop or anything?
Well, my advice to any groom is, right, okay, just go with what she says as long as it suits you.
That's it. Just go with it. Yeah, because in fairness, if it's a heterosexual marriage, the bride will have something in her head that she wants him to wear.
Yeah.
Look,
without joking, right, that has happened a few times in the store. You have to be very careful when you navigate that, right? Okay, and you have to let it play out. I think the number one thing is find the look that's going to suit the groom the best, and then try to kind of talk with the fiance, the future wife, to explain what you think, and then usually we always find a way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And kind of touching off that as well, for even same couple marriages, would you find that they'd want to be uniformed, or do you try to put them in two different? What the general kind of consensus there?
That is a brilliant question, right? Because that's really when guys, well, it's usually two guys that we're dealing with, right? When guys come into the store, that's the first question they have. Again, I use the phrase that they should complement each other.
Yeah, not the same.
They can be the same, and some guys like that. And if that's what they want, they can run with that.
Yeah.
I think it's better that rather than being exactly the same, that they complement each other. So an example of that would be, say for instance, a groom went for, I'm wearing a green today, so subtle green plaid check. One of the guys went for that. Then if the other guy went for the grey or the blue equivalent in the same fabric, but different colour. So that's something that quite often, and then the suit would be in the same style. So if one of them was wearing a three-piece, the other gentleman would be wearing the three-piece.
And so it always really comes back to that. What complements?
Where it goes wrong is, for instance, if one of the guys was to wear a tuxedo and the other guy was to wear a suit, a standard suit, like that would be a mismatch.
Yeah, of course.
But plus as well, it's great when two guys come in, because they usually are very kind of creative the other way, and they'll try something a little bit kind of maybe more daring sometimes, And of course, with made to measure, we can do anything.
And is it with the made to measure? Would you ever sell suits off the shelf, or would you recommend made to measure for your wedding?
We have a very large selection of suits off the rack in the stores, right? At any one time, we probably have 800-900 suits. So we definitely will be able to get you fitted off the rack. But really, my advice would be to get one made. Price wise, believe it or not, quite often it's not a huge jump, if a jump at all. But the difference is that we need time. So there's a bit of forward planning.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah, that's needed.
What kind of timeline should couples be thinking about before they walk through the doors of Louis Copeland?
Well, I would say ideally, we'd want kind of 3 months. Ideally. Obviously guys are always telling us that they're going to be a completely different body shape, by the time it comes around to the wedding and all the rest of it. Guys don't tend to change that much. They might lose a little bit off their waist. And remember, the waist measurement is only one of the measurements. So you've got their height, they've got your posture, their leg length is going to change, their arm length isn't going to change.
Well, that's true, and everything is adjustable.
Within reason. But there's a second and third fitting. Now look, there's a bit of a trend at the moment that some people are on Ozempic. Like if you're going to be losing 3 stone now, you really, you need to really think about that. You know what I mean? But there's only a couple of grooms that we've come across that with.
And like the argument then of them coming in time, like I was chatting to you off screen here, and I said, can we touch off any kind of horror stories? Because as suppliers, right, suppliers know it's perfect. And you had said to me, oh yeah, look, I mean, in all the years we've been in business, we've only let one groom down. I said, well, how did that? Oh, well, the suit didn't arrive on time for the day of his wedding. And who was that groom?
Well, may I add, it was the groom's fault that the suit didn't arrive
Sorry, I should have clarified that. It was the groom's fault, right? And who was the groom?
I was the groom.
It's just bizarre how you can let that slip.
So years ago, I got married 20 years ago. And, at the time, I think it was actually fax that we were using to send the order through. And I'd been putting it off. We were really busy. And of course, the closer to the church, sometimes the less holy. And I'd put it off. And in the end, it was just so tight. The time frame, and the suit arrived in the day after my wedding. So, but to my knowledge, that's the only groom that we've let down since then. And our our thoughts about weddings is like we've an all-out policy. No matter what we need to do in order to try and deliver for a wedding, we'll do that. You know, and that's our only filter. You know, and like with any business, you know, we have problems sometimes. Sometimes mistakes get made or whatever. But
Absolutely.
we'll do everything we can because we understand what an important day it is for the couple.
Yeah, and you had said something that kind of resonated with me. I think a lot of the trusted suppliers, it kind of the money comes secondary. Obviously, we're all in business, and we all have to make a few quid. Yeah. But like you touched off like that, when someone walks through the door, the money comes secondary to that.
Well, but I think, you know, for couples to trust us with their biggest day, it's huge, you know. And I'd say 95% of, you know, any of the business that we do runs very smoothly because we always ask for good timelines. Okay. Then if we are on a close timeline, we'll say to the couple, look, we're quite close here. We need to be organised with X, Y, and Z.
Because your suit is obviously ordered, made to measure, but then imported.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we ask. It's really a 6 to 8 week window that we need.
Okay.
But we ask for slightly longer than that with regards to weddings, just in case something goes wrong.
Okay,
you know, that we have time to deal with it. That we, you know, that we can. Yeah.
You have a little bit of wiggle room.
Exactly. Yeah.
And is there a design? It's a Louis Copeland suit. So I mean, forgive me now if I'm. But do you sell anything outside Louis Copeland suits, like brands?
Of course, yeah. So Canali is one of the very famous Italian brands.
Okay, and that's your main kind of distributor. Is that?
So Canali would be one of our main brands.
Yes.
But with regards to weddings, I would have said, you know, with regards to made to measure, a huge amount of them are Louis Copeland suits.
Yeah.
And how the process there is that the couple come in, that they choose their fabric. Well, we go through the styles, that kind of thing first of all. Then they choose their fabric. They choose every aspect that they want in the suit, even down to the lining caul. Right. You know, and they can get kind of, you know, the date of the wedding underneath the collar if they want. Yeah. But with one of our team, they'll design every aspect of that suit. I like that,
going back to that. So just it's embroidered in the back, is it?
Yeah,
That's brilliant. I like that.
Yeah. But it's really personalising the suit for you. It's making it a special suit for you.
Yeah.
And it's a great memento.
And that's where it comes in, where Louis Copeland comes into it, because it's down to the experience, isn't it? Obviously, you wear the suit, and you'll have the suit for days afterwards. Yeah. Or days, weeks, months. You know, but for a groom coming through your door, you're giving them that experience. You're sitting down, you're going through it. It's a touch feel process, and you know, with fabrics, then I mean, tweed was a thing a while back where everyone at weddings, even just guests at weddings, there was tweed everywhere. So is there a kind of a fabric now that you see trending at the moment for 25, 26?
Yeah, well, I think that it's not necessarily just one fabric. As I said to you, one of the biggest trends at the moment still is tuxedos and dress wear.
Okay.
Velvet for this coming season, as in autumn, winter, this year, 2025, is huge.
Okay.
So instead of wearing the tuxedo jacket, the groom might wear a velvet in a colour. We do green, we do brown, we do all kind of colours.
Yeah.
So I think tuxedo wear is very prevalent.
And the green is a popular colour now. Like the navy, you know, like 2 or 3 years ago, the navy suits with the tanned shoes.
Yeah, well,
is that an ick for you?
That's a total ick.
Even when it was fashionable.
Tight blue suits with kind of orange shoes is a total ick for me.
Do you know what we have to talk about? Because this is an absolute pet hate for mine. The no socks brigade. Yeah. So how do you feel about a guy coming into you and saying, well, it's probably never happened. Yeah. But we do see it at weddings all the time, not as frequently as now. But so the trousers up around here, okay? If you can show me, I'm wearing Doc Martens here. It's not very, very fashionable. And there's no socks. Yeah. Is it okay?
I don't know whether many guys should wear no socks on their wedding day.
At all?
Well, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
No.
Like, I mean, you know, I think a wedding day has some sort of formality to it.
Yes.
If you're getting married on the beach, yeah, absolutely. If it's a very casual wedding abroad, yeah, absolutely. But like, I mean, if your ankles are the same colour as your shirt and it's lashing rain outside, it's not a good look.
Actually, can we touch off that weddings abroad? Like, so would you get people coming and say, we're actually getting married over in Spain or Italy or whatever? Do you see much of that kind of business coming in?
Huge. During the summer, weddings abroad is a huge part of our business.
So you have to dress them based on what the climate's going to be, because it's probably guaranteed wherever they're going.
100%. And this is back to your question about, fabrics, let's say, that are in fashion. But it's not just fabrics that are in fashion. It's about picking the right fabric for the environment that you're going to get married in.
Okay.
So if you're getting married in the south of France and it's going to be 30 degrees, you need to get a suit that's very light in not only the fabric, but also in the makeup. So we would do a jacket that would have no lining on the inside, let's say, to make it a lot lighter, more breathable.
Breathable, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas opposed to that, like if you're getting married in Scotland in the winter, you might like to have a look at a tweed fabric or a heavier gauge fabric. Yeah. So it's about getting the right fabric for the environment that you're getting married in.
Okay. And then for people that are listening or watching this podcast to go to Louis Copeland in Galway or Pembroke, which is a nice kind of, like logistically and geographically, it's well spaced out, isn't it? So for Galway, you're capturing most of the people on the west side, and obviously in Pembroke, which is obvious enough. You're getting people coming from Leinster or probably all corners of Ireland. But for people to book, is there a process there? How are you on tech now for Louis Copeland as you move through the years? Is there a booking system? Do people call you up? And what's the best way to book an appointment with Louis Copeland?
Okay, so if you log on to louiscopeland.com, you go to the appointment page, and then you can select your store. So obviously I'm based in the Pembroke Street store, and I have my team, Zoltan, Emmett, Jake, they're all in Pembroke Street with me.
Great.
And then of course you have Gary down in Galway with his team, and all you need to do is pick the Galway store for Gary or his team.
Okay.
And both stores have an amazing team that really, really specialise in weddings.
And what kind of timeline is it like? Do you be in for an hour? Is it 2 hours? How many visits would a groom expect to be there? Would it be 3 or 4 visits, 2 visits?
But it can be as many visits as you like,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to close the door and say, look, I don't want to see you coming in here again. You're driving me nuts. Yeah.
So in general, let's say, if the couple have done a little bit of preparation beforehand in the fact that they would have maybe an idea of style, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If they come in, book an appointment, and then that would probably be about a 40-minute consultation. Then it would take another half an hour, let's say, 20 minutes to take the measurements.
Okay.
Then we would start to produce the suit. Then they would come back then about 6-7 weeks later then for a second fitting. So in the second fitting then we can analyse any small little alterations that would need to be done to improve the garment.
Okay, great.
And then 9 times out of 10, it's ready for collection the time after that. But sometimes then we might need a second fitting as well, a third fitting.
Yeah, okay.
As well, just to get everything right. So that's usually the way it works.
Okay, and would there be business then for the groom bringing his groomsmen to get suits as well, or would it be normally predominantly just the groom getting a suit from you?
No,
and then
groomsmen is a huge part of our business. Okay. So, but what I'd say to couples is concentrate on getting the groom 100%, right? Once you've achieved that, then what we do then is we sit down and discuss the options for the groomsmen. So they might opt to go for made to measure for the groomsmen. They might opt to go for off the rack for the groomsmen. Again, back to what we said at the start, the groomsmen should wear something that complements the groom, not necessarily matching.
Okay.
And then I would recommend then to bring the groomsmen in separate to the first appointment.
Okay.
So let the couple make the decisions in the first appointment, and then when the groomsmen come in, we might get them a few points when they're in the store, because they like to do that.
Bit of a day out as well.
Yeah, make a day out of it.
Absolutely.
The guys get measured. The decisions are made by the couple before that.
Yes,
so everyone knows where they're
Would you get
where they're
groomsmen
going.
and say, no, I'm not getting into that? Can you get, you always have difficulties, don't
Well,
you?
let's put it this
I'm
way.
not wearing that.
If a groomsman, 4 groomsmen, and then a bride and a groom turn up to make decisions on a suit, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But the decision should be for the couple because they're the ones getting married. It's their big day.
Fundamentally, and that's the end of it.
And then the groomsmen just have to row in with that. You know?
Yeah. So look, it's tradition at the end of every podcast. First of all, am I forgetting anything that you'd like to get across? We've covered a lot of ground there now.
No, I think we've a lot of ground covered there, Colin.
What would be your top tip for a groomsman with the wedding date set and he has a few ideas in his head outside of looking at Pinterest and stuff? What would be the top tip for a groom coming to Louis Copeland to get a suit?
Well, the top tip I would have for anyone getting a suit is you need to wear the suit. Don't let the suit wear you. So get something that you're really, really comfortable in.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love that.
get something that represents you, something that, you know, when you look back in pictures for the next 10 years or something like that, you're not going to go, oh my God, what was he thinking with regards to that?
Yeah.
I would say as well, it's such an important suit. I'd put the investment into it. You see,
Yes.
the whole thing about it is, look at us guys, like, provided we stay the same size, we should be able to wear that suit on multiple occasions
I
afterwards.
totally agree. If you buy cheap, you buy twice.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
So I would have said, put the investment into it. Get the suit you really, really want.
Yeah.
You know, and everything else is secondary after that. You know, once you have that achieved, then you can have a look at groomsmen, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But get something that you feel really good on your wedding day.
Great. David, gentlemen,
Thanks
for
Cathal.
coming in.
Thank you very
Brilliant.
much.